So that's a short spec ad I made for the brand Aimé Leon Dore. It's a brand that I've always loved. I love their products. I love the aesthetic of their shops. The branding that they put out on social media, the photos, the videos, it just really inspires me to go shoot something myself. And I just feel really at home when I look at that brand. So I thought, why not shoot something myself in this little home studio that I just built? So let me show you how I did it. All right, so we're in our basement right now. This is actually the smaller room. We also have a larger room right over there. But, you know, people tend to have a lot of stuff, so that wasn't really an option. I've had this idea for a while now to clean up this room a little bit and make it into a little home studio, and I finally got around to do it. So I cleaned up a little, vacuumed, and I brought in my background cloth and rolled it out. We still have some stuff on the walls here. After all, it's a basement, but I'm still gonna clean that up. But it was enough to get started. So rolled out the background cloth. I ordered an off-white one. This is more of like a salmon pinkish kind of color. At first I didn't really think it was going to look that great, but I have to say, you know, in the eventual video, it looks pretty good. It's a small room. We have our key light here. It's not big, but it's enough. So I did this with one light, one key light, the Godox SL60W with a softbox octagon and then a reflector there. It does bounce a little bit, probably can't see it, but the shadows of the jersey get a little lifted with the reflector. And then I just grabbed my desk chair from upstairs. It really fits that Aimé Leon Dore vibe really well. And then I have this vintage basketball that I'm really worn out. Bought it on a second-hand site here in Belgium, and that really goes well with that vibe as well. And then I grabbed one of my Aimé Leon Dore products that I have myself, green basketball jersey. It's reversible actually, so we have a green and a yellow side, and I just draped that there. And that looks pretty good. And then I grabbed my Sony FX30 with the Tamron 17-70, and I just put it on a straight angle here in vertical mount. Shot it in slow motion, 50p, and then I just sat down, did a couple moves with the ball for a couple minutes. I even did a little spin. Didn't think I was going to be able to do that, but I got a nice little spin going, so I thought it looked pretty cool in the video. And then I took the camera and put it in a side angle here, a little more zoomed in. And then I did the same, couple moves with the ball. All in all, probably took me, that's my dog, someone's at the door. All in all, probably took me, the filming here, 5 minutes? Probably 15 minutes all in all with setting up the camera and everything. So yeah, just to show you that you don't need much to make some cool things. You know, I have literally one key light, around $100 I paid for that, a Godox light, around $50 for the softbox, the reflector about $10, the background cloth was $50. I already had the light stands to hold the background cloth up, and then the props I have at home, and a camera of course. But you can do this with a cheap camera as well. It's the light that does everything. So yeah, really stoked with how it turned out. I think the video could probably fit into their Instagram page. I suggest you guys check out their Instagram page, Aimé Leon Dore, their website, and you will see that, you know, the vibe was really well recreated. And yeah, the result actually turned out pretty good, and I'm pretty happy. Didn't think it would turn out that cool, and it really did. It was exactly how I had it in my mind. So yeah, 15 minutes filming here, imported the footage upstairs, and then the edit probably took about 30 minutes. I'll show you in a minute how I did that. Just alternated the angles, couple effects, color graded with the Dehancer. Probably took me 30 minutes all in all, from start to finish, around an hour, excluding the cleanup here, of course, because that was like an hour in itself. So less is more sometimes. So keep it simple and do it tastefully. Let's hop into post and show you what the final edit looks like. All right, so hopping into the edit here, as you can see, it's a super simple timeline. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, exactly 10 clips. So we alternate angles, except in the beginning, transition into the spin. As you can see, I use 4 film burn transitions. So as you can see, the first transition, we just transition into the spin, and then we alternate to the side angle, back to the normal angle, back to the side angle with a film burn, showing off that watch and that hat. Front angle, side angle, front angle, outro. So what we did here, very simple. In the beginning, I will go to the color grading in a minute, but first I'm gonna show you the effects. So in the beginning, we have a slight keyframe. You'll see it over here. We zoom in ever so subtly, otherwise it's gonna be a little boring of a frame, but I sit down and I zoom in, and then we transition into the spin, which is at normal scale, and then we go into the side angles. Now in the side angles, I did something different, and I used the handheld effect in Final Cut Pro just to give it a little bit of a variation, because if we go from static shots from the front angle to the static shots from the side angle, of course I can't film myself handheld, so I had to use the tripod. But to give it a little bit more of a variation, I have a little shake in those side angle frames, and you will see it in the frame that it moves ever so slightly. Now you can dial it in as you want. This is pretty subtle, but it's enough. It's just to give it a little bit of movement so you see that there's variation in the frames. So we go to that side angle with that handheld effect, and then we go to the third front angle effect, and here I zoomed in a little bit more. Again, give it a little bit of a variation. So we're at 145%. So as you can see, pretty much like half more zoomed in than the first frames, which gives it, you know, just a little bit more interesting variation. So side angle again with that handheld effect, film burn transition. Here, I just thought this frame was too long, but I liked, you know, having that watch on that hat because it's an Aimé Leon Dore hat, and it's like a vintage Cartier watch, which is really Aimé Leon Dore vibes. And I wanted to start that with me, you know, tossing the ball here. So if I would have left the piece in the middle here, the frame would have been too long. So I had to cut the middle out, but just doing a jump cut without the middle, without an effect, it's just, it looks a little funny. So that's why I used a film burn. So as you can see right here, we go with that film burn and it just smoothly flows. Again, a front angle, and this is just normal scale. And then another side angle with the handheld effect again. So again, from that side angle to that front angle here, and this is where I lay the ball down to indicate that I'm leaving. So we have the sit down here, you know, the intro, and then the outro with me placing the ball down and leaving. So this is where the transition happens. In the outro, you have almost the same frame with me sitting in the chair placing the ball down, and then the empty chair with the jersey and the ball. And again, without that film transition, it looks a little odd in my opinion. So adding that transition, I know it's cliche, film burns, everybody does it, but it just looks nice. And then we have a little zoom out again with keyframes. Select the shot here, a little zoom out with keyframe, and here I also edit that handheld effect because it's just a chair, there's no movement in the frame, so I had to add a little movement. And although we zoom out, it just gives it that little bit of extra interest, adding that shake. We just leave the frame with the chair, the ball, and the jersey, and then we end with another film burn. Pretty simple. And then color grading wise, if we go and have a look here, take this frame, also the logo, this is the logo layer. I just leave it on in the entire clip, and I just fade it in the beginning a little bit, as you can see, and then I just leave it in. Color grade wise, we have Dehancer. I shot this on the FX30 and S-Log 3. I didn't shoot it in ISO 800. I shot it at ISO 1250, I think. Nevertheless, it looks pretty good. So without Dehancer, we have the log profile, and then with Dehancer, I chose the Kodak Vision 3 500T, and I fiddled with the film developer a little bit. As you can see, it's a little flat if we don't do that. So we had to spice it up a little bit, you know, add a little color boost, add a little contrast, and that looks really good in my eyes. The rest of the controls of Dehancer, I adjusted the white point a little bit, the black point, you know, to give it a little bit more contrast. And then as far as effects go, I added every effect. Normally I use the film grain, the halation, and the bloom from time to time. And then I just thought, why not use the film damage, the film breath, the gate weave to really give it that film-like feel and really use all of the tools that Dehancer gives you. And it turned out really good. It's so subtle, but it makes the difference. So you will see those little scratches here and there in the frames. And I exported it using all those effects. I'm editing on my MacBook Air M2 here. Adding all those effects and then exporting, although it is just shy of 20 seconds, it still took like, I don't know, 20 minutes to export. So that's to be expected. It's a really, you know, memory intensive plugin. But as you can see, with minimal adjustments here in the film developer, in the film compression, just to add the contrast, white point, and then the black point, and the rest is just as is. The linear, I didn't touch that, didn't touch the color head. It just came out really good. In some cases, you really need to tweak almost every parameter, but for this project, this was awesome. This was perfect, and it came out exactly how I wanted. It's subtle colors. It's a little warm, of course, with the background. As you can see here, halation and the grain and everything looks so good. It's exactly the color feel and the color vibe that I was going for. That's the color grading of this small spec ad. I just wanted to show you guys a little insight on how I did that little spec ad, which is nothing special. I mean, I'm not saying it's a big project or anything, but to me it looked really good and it looked really professional. So that's why I wanted to give you guys an insight on how I did it and how you can do it too. As I've shown you in the basement, it's with really minimal equipment. It's with one key light with a reflector. Just shoot your own spec ads, man. If you want to do something, if you have an idea for some brand that you like, or just go out there and shoot and try stuff. I had this in my head, in my mind, and I tried it and it came out maybe even better than I expected. So just go ahead and try stuff. You will fail, but you will succeed as well. And if you succeed and a project comes out the way you wanted it to, it's just an awesome feeling and it just inspires you to shoot even more. That's it for me, guys, in this one. And as always, on to the next one.